portion of this video is sponsored by Pro Writing Aid. All right, gang, let's get real. Let's get REAL to the core. I'm gonna break down every single thing that goes into taking your edited final draft from a file on your computer to a posting on Amazon. And this is based on my own experiences, so it doesn't include other platforms or other sites. This video is going to go over choosing your title and your cover and formatting your manuscript for ebook and paperback and so much about the self-publishing process. This is a culmination of my successes, failures, and just weird things that I encountered that I wasn't prepared for, so here we go. If you find these kind of videos helpful, then consider picking up my Then consider picking up my book Starlight Farm's Kennel for Talking Dogs and using the link below. If you have more questions or want to share your writing with a great group of people, then check out the Discord link below and come join us over there. So, where do we get started? These are the sort of tangential pieces of information that you're going to need when publishing your book. Whether you're writing something that will end up as an ebook or a physical book, you need to have these things. So first, let's talk title, because of course you need a title for your book. The title of your story is the first glimpse that a reader has into your book. And there are a couple of things that you need to consider about this. First and foremost is genre. Genre carries so much weight in regards to your story, and that extends to your title and your cover. Book titles and genre combine into a tool that readers can use to find stories that they will like. And publishing houses know all about this. You can see how popular books that begin these big trends in literature, especially in young adult literature, how it influences books that come after. And it's even more apparent to covers, but we'll get there. Let's look at one of the more recent book trends out of Book Talk, the Sarah J. Maas books. Her most popular series is A Court of Thorns and Roses and its following sequels, A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Wings and Ruin, A Court of Silver Flames. And minus that last title, most of these books follow a blank of blank and blank format. And this extends to another series of hers, House of Earth and Blood, House of Sky and Breath, House of Flame and Shadow. Following this title format, authors were able to write books that shared in the same themes and settings and reading experience as these Sarah J. Maas books. And to communicate that to readers, they titled their books in the same format. Jennifer Armentrout wrote an extremely popular series that began with From Blood and Ash and A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. And Scarlett St. Clair wrote King of Battle and Blood, and there's just so many more of these that I don't even know about. All right, here's the deal. The first thing I want to say is that this is not lazy or shortcut or a money grab. This is marketing. This is advertising your book as best you can to your target audience. These authors and their publishing houses recognize that this book deals in the same trends and themes as another popular book, and using the title is the quickest way to communicate that. Let's look at Pulp Fiction, not the movie. Genre is headed by James Pattersons and the John Grishams. In some genres, especially at the level of success for these authors, the book title is not really important. I would go so far as to say that they have bad titles in these genres. You'll even see at the bookstore that these authors have their names presented on the book cover in larger text than the book title. I mean, look at my second ever video on this channel to sort of see what I mean. In these sort of cases, the author's name is more of a marketing book title than the actual title of the book, if that makes sense. I mean, seriously, look at how bad these book titles are. Your title should communicate some important information about your book. Maybe it's communicating the kind of book that this will be, like those with the Sarah J. Maas titles. Maybe it's deferring its job to the big author name. But for most of us, our titles exhibit some essential parts of our story. Let's look at my title, Starlight Farm's Kennel for Talking Dogs. A quick jump across the internet shows that this title breaks a lot of rules about what a book title should be. It's not concise. Is it memorable? Maybe only to me. Is it easy to say? Probably not. I can only do it because I've been practicing for so long. So why did I choose this book title? Again, genre is king. This book is a cozy fantasy book. And looking at the titles in this genre, I took notes of legends and lattes, Can't Spell Treason Without T, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and The Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. These are some of the cozy fantasy giants in the genre, and you can see that some of them go very against this idea of concise, memorable, easy to pronounce book titles. Within this genre, there are different goals. Cozy fantasy is an emerging genre feel-good story. It's low stakes, little to no violence, character-focused, and it typically features slice of life details. Because of that, the title of my book tries to hit on some of these points. Starlight Farm hopefully brings an element of slice of life and whimsical fantasy. The story follows two farmers as we navigate this cozy fantasy world, and the Kennel for Talking Dogs is the attempt at something more attention-grabbing. It's the bit of information that would set this book apart from other cozy fantasy stories. A book for fantasy lovers and a book for dog lovers alike. While it's not concise, it doesn't roll off the tongue, hopefully it conveys enough of the important parts of the book so that potential readers can understand it. And then that brings us to the cover and the blurb. The title and the cover combine into a package that is the advertising of your book. And this is true whether you're an established author with a book at the bookstore or a posting on Amazon. Maybe you have some sort of idea for your book cover, maybe you don't. Most authors will have to find some artist to work with to have a book cover designed. There are plenty of places that you can go, like Reedsy or Fiverr. There are even pre-made book covers that you can find and buy, like at Book Cover Designer, where you can pay for a book cover, have your title and author name placed on it, and then use that for your ebook. More work would probably be required for turning this into a physical cover, but they're ready to go for ebook. I recommend working with a professional book cover designer instead of these pre-made covers. There seems to be a lot of fine print regarding these covers, so do your own research. I found my cover artist on Fiverr. I had a specific style in mind, and looking through a bunch of postings over weeks and reaching out to an artist that I liked the most, eventually I was able to send a couple messages back and forth. She sent me ideas and sketches, and we decided on a design. A couple weeks later, I had a couple different images, including source files that I could use. And that was important to me in case I needed to modify or change something about the image, which I did have to do. If you aren't proficient with any image editing tool, then maybe this point isn't as important for you, but find a book cover designer that has revisions and iterations available. As a self-published author, choosing a book cover is exciting. It's a step towards publishing your book that feels very tangible, like a big achievement. My biggest feedback regarding covers is to try to find an experienced book designer who has experience within your genre and go into this process as a collaborative effort. Trust your designer. They have knowledge that you don't have. An ebook only needs one big image for a cover, but a physical cover has more requirements. The image that you use for a physical book cover needs to include the front image, the spine, and the back of the book. And depending on the physical size of your book, whether or not the book is 5x8 or 6x9 or some different dimensions, your image may need to be changed. So ideally you can figure out what size you want your book to be before going to work with a designer. Also, the page count of your book is going to determine how thick the spine needs to be. So that information is also important to bring to your designer so that you don't have to make adjustments at a later date like I did. On the back of the book, you have the blurb. This also goes on any sort of web listings that you have. The blurb of a book could be a whole video in itself. The cover and the title of your book is like the sign to a restaurant. It helps get potential customers to the door, but the blurb of your book is like the menu. The sign lets someone know what kind of restaurant it is, and the menu lets someone know if that food fits their taste. This is your chance to hook a reader on the content of your story. The big thing here is that this is your 1 or 2 paragraph teaser that communicates why someone would want to read your story. I recommend that you include the major themes or tropes to your story here and some bit of information for what makes your story unique. My blurb looks like this. You can find it on the Amazon page, but let me take you through my thought process. I wanted to emphasize a couple things. First and foremost, genre, theme, and tropes. In my case, I needed to make sure readers knew that this book was cozy fantasy, including talking dogs as some main characters and the trope of found family. There are a couple of tropes that are so popular and important that readers actively seek them out. You see this all the time in romance. Enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, arranged marriage, secret relationship, there's dozens. Readers seek out stories based on these tropes because they know that's what they like. And this happens outside of romance as well. Dark academia is a big one right now. This kind of started as a trope, but has now emerged as a genre itself because it's so popular at the moment, at least. If your story is about a prince finding redemption, or a group rebelling against the government, or a superhero high school, you need that information to be immediately present in your blurb. That's the information that a reader is looking for. You don't want to bury the lead. Let the reader know what's happening, what they can expect, what tropes that they're gonna find, and get them excited to read your book. We've had some great discussions regarding book blurbs in the Discord, and maybe we'll do a big book blurb workshop during our Novella November streams this year. Make sure to follow the channel for more information regarding that. I'm gonna help you finish your book. Now, this video doesn't cover the publishing processes of any service outside of Amazon. For those who don't know, there are other services as well, like BookBaby or Draft2Digital. These are websites to help provide you all the tools you need to self-publish your book. They can help you format your manuscript so that it looks good in ebook or physical copies. You can create a listing on different stores and websites and more, and they'll track your sales and print your books to order or let you bulk order your own books. In this sort of like self-publishing arms race over the past decade, Amazon has made it so easy. There's a much bigger discussion here in whether or not Amazon has too much power in the book industry. They do. And whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, it's bad. When working through Amazon, it is incredibly easy to have your book ready for ebook distribution and print. It's a 3-part setup for each kind of a book you want to make, broken into details, content, and pricing. Details is mostly the metadata. It's the title and the author and the blurb of your book. But it also includes the first part of your marketing for your book in the form of categories and keywords. I will never be able to do this topic justice compared to people who have been publishing books like this for decades. I referenced Kindlepreneur and The Nerdy Writer for doing my research into how to best set this up, but I'll give you a summary rundown here. Amazon lets you determine 3 categories for your book. These determine a few things. First, it's one way that a reader can sort of stumble upon your book. If a reader is browsing through the fantasy, action, adventure category, then they can come across your book if it's in that category. More importantly, each one of these categories has a bestsellers ranking. And for readers who are browsing for a book, this is the best way to get your book in front of new readers. It requires you to have a certain amount of sales a day to end up in that ranking. So it's a really big deal if you can make that happen with your book. You can choose 7 keywords to associate with your book, and these keywords work with SEO to rank your book in the search results when users are looking for certain information. The Amazon algorithm, like any algorithm, is a complex machine, so it's hard to predict where exactly you would fall in the search results. So how do you choose these categories or keywords? I chose to buy the software product Publisher Rocket, which is created by the people behind Kindlepreneur and The Nerdy Writer. Those same experts I mentioned at self-publishing, those same experts in self-publishing that I mentioned before. This tool lets you explore categories and keywords to make an informed decision for your book. Amazon itself, as far as I know, doesn't have any tools for doing this. So these third-party tools are the only place to get that information. The content part of the setup is where you provide your cover and your manuscript, and you can preview the ebook or physical copy. This is also where Amazon will try to help you make sure everything looks good. When uploading for an ebook, Amazon will let you preview your book by simulating it on different devices so you can see what it looks like. And when uploading for a physical book, Amazon will create a preview so that you can see what your cover looks like and the margins and the formatting of your book. And if everything looks good, you can move on to the next section. The pricing section allows you to choose the price for your book. Oh, wow. And if you want to enroll in different options that Amazon allows, this could be, is your book going to be KDP exclusive? Are you going to enroll your book in Kindle Unlimited? These options all affect the royalty rate that you get from each sale. Even the dollar amount pricing of your book can affect your royalty rate. I'll link a link below that does a deep dive into these options if you're interested. If you're setting up for a print copy, then this is your chance to print a proof of your book. This way you can figure out whether or not you like the choices that you made regarding the type of paper that your book will use or the size of the book. It also helps you make sure that your formatting works for your story. And boy, was I glad I did this. This was probably my biggest mistake. It was almost a disaster. My first proof copy was flat out bad. I mean, look at this thing. I chose a trim size that was a little bigger by accident. My text was too small. It was too hard to read. The paper felt really cheap and thin. And the cover was so thin that it just seems to curl for no reason. So I made changes to my manuscript in Scrivener, like changing the font size and the type. I chose a different paper type in the Amazon KDP portal. I played with the margins. And in a lot of my decisions, I was measuring and referencing a book that I wanted to emulate. This is your pro tip for this video. Reference books that you love the feel of to figure out these decisions. I love the feel of Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. It just feels right. And then this was the second proof copy that I got. You can avoid further disasters like this by making sure that you're using the right tools to edit your work. Don't let silly mistakes sneak into your draft. Use Pro Writing Aid instead. Pro Writing Aid is a tool that every writer should use. It's an all-in-one writing tool made by writers for writers. I bought my very own lifetime license 4 years ago because I knew that this tool would be a critical part of my writing process. Pro Writing Aid integrates natively with my writing tool of choice, Scrivener, and it allows me to use their Desktop Everywhere app to edit on the fly. That Desktop Everywhere app means that Pro Writing Aid can integrate with any writing tool that you use, not just Scrivener. Everywhere truly means everywhere. This app gives you the writing feedback that you need wherever you can enter text. And that means that Pro Writing Aid integrates with Scrivener and Google Docs and Microsoft Word and Obsidian and any other writing tool that you may use. Pro Writing Aid helps you with your spelling and your grammar, but it goes so much further than that too. I like the critique report, which will look at my story and give me feedback on the pacing and the characters and the style of my writing. A dozen other reports can help you make sure that your manuscript is as strong as possible before you publish your story. Use my code WritingTheory10 at checkout for 10% off. Thanks to Pro Writing Aid for working with small creators. These author proofs are incredibly valuable. You only pay for the shipping and the cost of the printing, so each of these proof copies only cost about $5 from me. It was well worth the money. And this is why you shouldn't advertise a publishing date before proofing. Make sure that you have a product that you're proud of. Take your time. Once everything looks good, you can put your book out right away, or you can set it up for pre-orders. And here's something that I didn't know. Amazon will not let you list a print book for pre-order when you're using their printing service. Apparently you can do it when setting up a print book through Draft to Digital or maybe BookBaby or these other services, but Amazon won't let you list a physical book for pre-order for some reason. But ebook can be set up for pre-order, and that really confused me for a while. So yeah, you can only schedule it to be released on a certain date, but people cannot pre-order the physical copy. As your book approaches the release date, you can start to advertise or promote it on Amazon, but that's a video for another day. I'll be giving it my best shot, and I'll let you know in a couple months how it went. You have time to edit the details and manuscript as your book approaches that pre-order date, but mostly what you have to do now is wait. If you like this video, let me know below. Subscribe and follow the channel for more content about writing as we return to narrative content. Check out the Discord with the link below and join us as we all work to be better, stronger riders. And again, it would mean a lot if you checked out my book. By the time you see this video, it should be out. It's the best way to support this channel and the Discord. And as always, thank you for watching.